Hey class, I'm William Gorman, and today we're going to be talking about Joe Rogan for the famous person speech. So, Joe was born in Newark, New Jersey on August 11th, 1967. He had one Irish grandparent while his other three grandparents were Italian descent, and he actually spent most of his time with his grandparents because his parents got divorced when he was 5, and he hasn't even been in contact with his father since he was 7. His grandparents raised him for most of his early life. When he was a kid, he was a small kid. He was getting bullied all the time by kids in school. And at one point, he said enough is enough, and he started training mixed martial arts, which was not popular back then at all. It was really rare for someone to do that. Um, he began practicing at the age of 13, and within 2 years, he was awarded a black belt and became the Massachusetts full contact Taekwondo champion for 4 consecutive years, which is pretty impressive. By the age of 19, he won the U.S. Open Taekwondo Championship, and as a lightweight champion, went on to beat both the middle and heavyweight title holders to obtain the Grand Championship. Today, he's 55 years old and he still trains daily. After relocating to Los Angeles in 1994, he signed an exclusive developmental deal with Disney and appeared as an actor on several television shows, including Hardball and News Radio. He had a pretty diverse career, and in 1997, he started working for the UFC as an interviewer and color commentator. He would do after fight interviews backstage just because he was interested in the UFC and he wanted to make a career out of it, which is a pretty common theme with all the work that he's done throughout his life. You'll see. He also released his first comedy special, I'm Gonna Be Dead Someday, in 2000. Again, comedy was a hobby of his. He enjoyed doing it and he tried to make a career out of it, and he actually did, and he was pretty successful. UFC. Since 1997, Rogan has provided color commentary for the UFC on pay-per-view, Spike Television, and Fox. He used to do it for free back when the UFC was just starting up, and now he gets paid $50,000 per pay-per-view, which is a crazy amount of money. From 2001 to 2006, he hosted the game show Fear Factor, which was a pretty popular show. This is how most people know Joe by. After leaving Fear Factor, he focused on his stand-up career and hosted more comedy specials. He also launched his first ever podcast in 2009. He started the podcast because he thought it would be a fun hobby. Again, he just doing something he thought was fun and interesting, and it turned into his career. For those of you who have never heard his podcasts, most episodes are just him and a friend of his or someone he's never met but thinks is interesting, like authors and musicians and comedians and other MMA fighters, people that share the same hobbies as him, just sitting in a room talking and learning stuff about each other. His podcasts became incredibly popular over the years, and in May 2020, he signed a deal with Spotify, earning him upwards of $200 million. Some notable guests he's had on the show include Elon Musk, Mike Tyson, Bernie Sanders, Edward Snowden, Dave Chappelle, Dr. Phil, and Miley Cyrus. So he's got pretty much all kinds of people on there. Joe Rogan's podcast boasts a viewership of an estimated 11 million people per episode, making it Spotify's most popular podcast and the most popular podcast on any platform.